have one of the wings put together. And just have to do a little sanding on the seam right here. The leading edge needs a little sanding also. But generally speaking, it came out pretty good. There's a close-up of the landing gear well. Okay. This other wing section, I'm just gluing up the landing gear well parts. Getting that all put together. And then the top part of the, or the bottom part of the wing, excuse me. Excuse me. Still trying to get over this stupid cold. Here is the door. Glued into place. So I'm going to let this glue set up a bit longer and we'll put the two halves together. In the meantime, what I'm going to do, well, these things are drying up, is I'm going to work on sanding these seams a little bit here. So I'll come back in just a little while. There it is. It's coming along and it's looking like an actual jet airplane now, more or less. Got the wings on, the horizontal stabilizers, cockpit is inside. You flip it over and you can see the wheel wells are all done inside there and in the front. So, yeah, I'm at the point now in the instructions where they want me to start putting the landing gear in. However, I'm not sure I'm going to do that yet, just because I still have to paint, you know, the majority of this model, the aluminum, and I don't want the landing gear to be in the way. That's basically the reason. The good thing about handing the landing gear on now is that you can set it down on the landing gear, but oh well. Yeah, so what am I going to do? I am going to work on building up the landing gear, you know, as far as putting the landing gear itself together, but just not attaching it to the airplane. And looking ahead in the instructions, it looks like in step 9, which is a couple steps ahead, they are asking you to build the bombs and the nuclear bomb and that kind of stuff, and the rockets if you want to do the Korean War version. So I have to decide whether I'm going to put the rockets on or not, or if I'm going to just put the regular 500-pound bombs on here, along with the huge nuclear bomb that you can put in the center here. Let me show you what the nuclear bomb looks like. When I first saw it in the parts, at first glance, I thought it was a big drop tank, but I kind of thought about it later. I go, wait a minute, that kind of doesn't look like a big drop tank. It's kind of huge for that. And plus, on the ends of the wings, these are gas tanks, fuel tanks on the ends of the wings already. So that didn't make any sense when I said that. Turns out this is a nuclear bomb right there. So I'm at the place where I can put those two halves together, the halves of the 500-pound bombs. I think they're 500-pound bombs. I'm not sure. It could be 350. I don't know. And the pylons for the bombs. I have the landing gear struts are painted and ready to go. And the wheels are all painted too. So I'm thinking I'm just going to start putting some of this stuff together. and not attach it yet to the model because, as I said, I want to get this thing painted, and the less I have to mask off, the better. As it stands right now, I have to mask off these areas right here, 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 and the nose wheel section and the cockpit. Those all have to be masked off before I can paint this with the aluminum. So I put a number of these split shots that I use for the weights in the nose. So the nose is filled with these split shots right here. Feels pretty hefty, like there's enough in there. And basically, you just fill up the nose with those weights, and you add some super glue, and holds it all together, and it adds quite a bit of weight to the nose. So that's been done. Yeah, I'm liking the way this is looking. And okay, well, I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm just going to get to putting together those sub-assemblies. I have the pylons glued onto the bottom, and they are just awaiting the bombs. And so this jet only has two more things to put on, and then it'll be ready for painting. And that is the flaps right here. Put it on. So I ended up putting the flaps in the retracted position, because that makes more sense if you're going to be parked on the tarmac. Then you're not going to have your flaps hanging down normally. So yeah, I put these flaps in retracted. So there we go. This is ready to be painted. Yeah, there's not much more I can do except mask off the cockpit and the wheel wells and the speed brake area and the intake. Oh, and the nozzle. So we'll let everything dry really well here, and we'll get ready to paint the main part of the airplane. I got the two bombs here. I'm going to paint these up. I think these get painted either black or olive drab. Okay, I'm using NATO Black as the primer. And before I put down a light coat of NATO Black as the primer, and then I will go over it with the final coat of the flat aluminum. Well, the jet looks pretty good in NATO black. Looks like a night version. Okay, here is the aluminum painted on the jet. I need to let this cure overnight for sure. Didn't come out as smooth as I was hoping it would, but it'll even out over time as it dries and cures. I have the jet all painted aluminum now, and I put a single layer of clear on it. I have to do a little touch up here and there, so I'll go ahead and do that. But I am at the point, I think, where I am ready to excuse me, start attaching the landing gear. Yeah. Got the tires all painted. Got the struts all painted and dry brushed. Same with the doors, wheel doors. So what I'm going to do is get all the parts together and we'll start assembling these landing. It's time to put some decals on. Kind of tore a little bit right there. Excuse me. I went through the entire jet and went over all the panel lines and tried to make them a little more pronounced. And so I guess it helps a little bit. Okay, I'm going to proceed to add decals. Put that down first. A thin layer of that. Take the decal. Doesn't want to come off. There it goes. All right. Now, USAF. So then we have the top two. Excuse me, the upper wing surfaces have the decals put on them, the main decals. They went on pretty well. Now, the next one we can put on are these little step areas right here. They're black. I'm not sure if they gave us decals for that or not. Right here. Those are the ones I was looking for. I was thinking they were black. Okay. Now I'm going to try and put on these longer decals that may be a little more tricky. These smaller ones down here on the wings, they started splitting apart when I put them on. So hopefully these bigger ones won't do that. Well, here's where we're at with the decals. I got the wing decals on, the top portion. I attempted to put the decals that go on either side of the canopy, the anti-glare stripes, and as I was putting those, I started with the nose and it just completely disintegrated, so that's unusable. I got the two tail decals on. I don't know if you can see those or not. Yeah, number 77. So the version I'm doing is the 31st Fighter Escort Wing Strategic Air Command, Lausier Air Base in French Morocco during Operation Longstride, August 1953. However, one thing I will not be doing, I think, is this particular version has, let me show you on the decals. The particular version I'm doing has these blue decals with the stars all over them, the Strategic Air Command logo. Based on these long ones here that I tried to put on the nose and how they totally disintegrated, these are probably going to disintegrate too. I'm going to try to put them on. We'll see what happens. However, as far as the anti-glare parts on the nose and behind the cockpit, I'm going to have to paint that. I'll have to tape it off and paint it. But that'll get done later. Since the decals just disintegrated, I've had to paint the anti-glare stripes by hand. So I've just done that using flat black, and looks like it's pretty much dry, so I'm about to tear the tape off, see how it came out. So let's start with the front here. Well, that came out pretty good. A little bit of touch up right here with the flat aluminum. Not much. Okay. Now the back rear section here. See how this came out. There we go. Not too bad, I guess. It's got a little bit of touch up here in the tail section to do, but I'm going to let this totally dry about an hour or so. So it's totally cured. It came out decent. pretty decent. Okay. Well, I think what I'll do now, after this is totally dry, is I will work on putting decals on the underside of the airplane, and then there's a few that go on the side here. And some numbers that go in the front and the insignia in the back here. It looks like there's supposed to be a stripe on the nose. I'm going to check into that and see. Alright, been putting more of the decals on. And a couple more of them started to split apart as I was putting them on. The numbering right here on the side, this started coming apart on me. The number 5 there split apart. This one did okay on this side. One of these side ones, I forget, didn't want to cooperate either. It almost came apart. But I'm managing so far. Once I get all most of these decals on, I'm going to give this thing a clear coat.